From Chesapeake, Virginia, WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
All right, thank you very much. We are live as always, December 20th, 2017, 5 days before Christmas with Joe Daniel, my producer Greg Bicouvaris. Glad you're with us. Sports Scene interview show each Wednesday from 12 to 1. Also watch sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Tell your friends about gjbtv.com and click the YouTube link on the homepage for archived audio and video. Twitter at Greg Bick, GregBic, and you can see the rest of my Twitter handles on gjbtv.com in the contact section. Thank you to our military. Guest lineup presented by Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Sponsors on gjbtv.com. Marketplace sponsors and Hampton Roads onlinemall.com. Browse, shop, visit. Phone line presented by Spaghetti Eddies. Show is presented by hrsmhof.com. We'll have the big ceremony in 2018. Redskins 6-8 with 2 games left. They take on the Broncos and the Giants coming up. Cavs off to a rough start in the NBA, but are shining brightly now, playing some of the best basketball in the NBA as an elite team. And the bowl season is officially here. Great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary. What teased me off? Thank you for making the habit to listen to Sports Scene weekly, and we love our regulars, newcomers, and tourists. At Greg Bick on Twitter. That's GregBic as well, and our good friends at Sakura Japanese Restaurant Sushi Bar, takeout, dine-in, order through orderup.com at 1437 Sam's Way in Chesapeake. Give them a call at 410-4577. They're open for Christmas and New Year's. Go by and see Jasmine and the great staff at Sakura in Chesapeake. 1650 AM, 92.5 FM, tunein.com, type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer, or go by 1650theanswer.com. Stay tuned.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
And you hear the noise, you remember the names of Johnny Unitas, Burt Jones, Lydell Mitchell. The Colts are coming back to Baltimore, but not those Colts, the Indianapolis Colts. Good friend of the program, public address announcer for the Baltimore Ravens, works at the Fox affiliate in Baltimore, has Peninsula roots. Let's welcome Bruce Cunningham. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, always good to chat with you, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you. Same to you. Busy morning up here today.
Very good. Tell us about it.
Zach Britton, the Oriole closer, ruptured his Achilles yesterday. His contract runs out at the end of 2018, and so he was a prime trade subject. The Orioles are obviously going to retool. Everybody in the division is. I see Evan Longoria just got traded, but I digress. So they're scrambling. They're trying to figure out what's going to happen, and obviously any trades for Zach Britton are going to be off the table. So that's what I've been doing this morning.
Absolutely, and of course, not to mention the Yankees gave everybody an early Christmas present, too, with their signings off season.
Well, and if you notice, the rest of the division is now adjusting. Toronto's talking to people about Josh Donaldson. The Orioles have put Manny Machado and Zach Britton on the market. And now you hear Longoria was just traded this morning. It's obvious what's going on. The rest of the division realizes that, the Yankees are are pretty formidable, and the Houston approach seemed to work for the Astros. Take it down to the rafters and start over. So I'm going to predict you're going to see 3 teams in the American League East do just that.
All right, let's get right to the football. And give us a lay of the land about your background, your Twitter handle, and, of course, you're the PA announcer for the Ravens, and you're in TV and radio as well. Tell us what Bruce Cunningham is doing today.
Well, I told you I spent my morning. And
Sure.
then I'm going to go in this afternoon. I do the Sports on the News on WBFF here in Baltimore. And I'm also, as you said, I'm the stadium announcer for the Ravens, and then I do radio here, too, at 105.7 The Fan. So I stay busy. The great Tom Davis told me one time, he said, your phone's not always going to ring, so when it rings, answer it. So that's what I do. I answer my phone.
Right. I'll say that Steve Levy once told me, too. He said, never turn down anything if you can. So you're exactly right. And I'll say this, too, folks. I do a lot of network television work as a stage manager. Bruce Cunningham is by far the better PA announcer from the team 35 miles away from where the Ravens play. No question about it. I'll say it, Bruce. I will not call any names out, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Well,
I tell you what, it all started at Tab High School.
Yeah.
Peninsula Pilots. I mean, you want to trace my career, boy, the initial footprints, the baby steps were right there, you know.
And you look at the roots there with the Kirby brothers, of course, one of the Kirby's longtime, official there with the Orioles and Buck staff, and of course, so many great lineage here. But let's talk about the Ravens right now. 8-6, they're a dangerous team. They're peaking at the right time. They've been getting some more points on the board. And the Colts come in for a Saturday night game. Is there any nostalgia left about the Colts, or is it pretty much just the 50 and over crowd that remembers it?
It's even worse than that. It's probably 60 and over crowd. The first time they came to Baltimore was in '98, the first year of the new stadium, and that was the catharsis right there. That's when everybody got it out. Mm-hmm. And then there was a playoff game. The Ravens had gone 13-3 that season. It's when they had Steve McNair, and the Colts came in for a playoff game and beat the Ravens. The Ravens had the first round bye in the whole nine, and the Colts came in and beat them, and went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So I think that whatever remained, I think that got rid of it. No, there's very, very little Colt talk in this town anymore. Very little.
Right. Even though the Colts have the same ownership family, the Ursay. One thing I do respect about Ursay, I know Stan White told me they did bring back some of the teams from the 70s to Indianapolis. However relevant that was, it's still the same uniforms, but still, it's nice. Yeah. It's nice to beat the Colts when you're in Baltimore. Still,
well, at this point in the season, you got to beat anybody. I mean, if they win. If they win the next two, they're in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And it's the Colts and then the Bengals. Both of them are at home. So that's a very advantageous position for the Ravens to be in right now. All they have to do is go out and win. And then if you want to advance in the AFC playoffs, chances are at some point you're looking at the Patriots and the Steelers. Well, if you look at the track record, the Ravens aren't afraid of those two teams and generally do pretty well against them. So there's some cautious optimism in this town. Earlier in the year, it looked like they were going nowhere fast, but they have really rallied, and things are looking bright. People are excited.
Bruce, you couldn't ask for two better teams to play. The Colts, who don't have their quarterback, and, of course, the Bengals, who I guess Marvin Lewis is a lame duck at this point.
Yeah, it all worked out pretty well. But, the thing is, and you're around this stuff long enough to know, too, that there's a saying, you still got to play the games.
Sure.
And that's what's in front of them right now. They've got to get 2 W's, and they're in. And really, the whole thing in pro football is getting to the playoffs because everybody's 0-0. It's a reset to the season, and that's the way they're looking at it.
Right, a rare Saturday game. Then you got to take on the Bengals, who are going to be sky high, probably going to try to win that last game for Lewis. If that's his last game, indeed, we probably will know by then as well.
Yeah, probably. I don't know how true those reports are. And the thing is, Marvin spent a long time on the Ravens coaching staff, and is still held in high regard in this town. So if that does turn out to be his last game, he's going to get a lot of love from the home crowd too. People remember Marvin and really love him. That first Super Bowl, the 2000 Super Bowl, 35, that was him. That defense, that he put together. So there's a little bit of ownership when it comes to the fans' opinions of Marvin Lewis. But it could come down to that. And the thing is, it's nerve-wracking because of all of their opponents, the Bengals give them the hardest time,
Right.
It's only fitting that the season end that way.
And it seems like the Bengals, too, of course, whatever you want to say about them, folks, they've been erratic for decades with the ownership group, but they've been consistent with Marvin Lewis. I mean, they were very consistent when they had Ken Anderson back in the day and Archie Griffin and Pete Johnson in the 70s, but this is a very consistent group as far as the coaching staff, and his coaching tree has done very well, too, with Zimmer and Gruden as well.
Yeah, I mean, his tree has started, his coaching tree. The thing about the Bengals, though, they've had some great teams and terrific players, but Marvin just can't win a playoff game.
Right.
I think they've been 9 times, and he's 0 for 9. And really, in the NFL, that's what it's about. There's no pretense. It's not like college football. You're not building young men. You're not, trying to advance a program. No, you're there to win. And if you get in the playoffs, you're especially there to win. That's the strength of John Harbaugh. If you really want my opinion, of all the things that you can point at in Harbaugh's 10 years here, is he wins playoff games. You know, he takes advantage of situations, and Marvin just hadn't been able to do that. It's a shame because you won't find a better man. Marvin Lewis is a terrific guy. Everybody loves him. And you pull for him up to a certain extent, but, man, you got to win those playoff games, you know?
Absolutely. And, of course, he's a gentleman, and he still has some football life in him. With that said, with the rebound of the Ravens, Harbaugh and Ozzie are both safe for next year? Yeah. I would think Ozzie's probably as safe. He's got that job as long as he wants it. The advantage was the new owner, Steve Bisciotti, who bought it from the Modells. He had been a 49% owner for about 8-9 years before he bought the rest of it. And so he worships at the altar of Ozzie just like Art Modell did. So Ozzie's safe. Harbaugh just got an extension before this season, so we'll see. 10 years with one team is a long run in the NFL, and there is the theory that players stop listening to you after a while, but they're listening to him this year. He certainly got them rallied and turned around. Anyone would have to admit that, don't you agree? Yes, we're talking to Bruce Cunningham, sports director at WBFF in Baltimore. Glad you're with us right here live on the radio at 12:18, also anywhere in the world on tunein.com by typing in WHKT. What a weird season it's been with the Carolina Panthers owner being a pervert, with the NFL Network. It just didn't start with these guys right here as well, and of course all the off-season stuff and in the news world too, not just the movies and sports and entertainment. Been a very strange football season, not to mention the concussions, the ratings, the continuous talk of Thursday night football, and also the mediocre league that the NFL has become so far.
Yeah, and the other factor, too, I was waiting for you to mention, is the week-to-week nature of the league now.
Sure.
You look at the Ravens going to London and getting beat 40-7, by Jacksonville, who turned out to be a decent team. And then you look at all these other upsets that have happened in these unlikely games. The Steelers had a loss they didn't expect. It's just weird this year, and nobody can really explain it. But the NFL, the goal has always been absolute parity. They want everybody to be 8-8, so they're probably applauding this. I tell you one thing though, I'm really getting a little bit tired of the empty seats.
Sure.
Whatever stupid political point people are trying to make, everybody's made the point. Everybody's been heard. Stop letting politics be a wedge between you and football. I'm getting sick of that. It's probably not a popular sentiment, but I'm getting really tired of it, when you're talking about all this other off-the-field stuff that's happening.
Because you talk about the Orioles in Major League Baseball, it's 81 attendance figures they got to fill. For a football, it's only 8. You include 10 with the preseason. And here's another thing. You talk about the national anthem. You're exactly right. But here's my theory, too, is the human body is so used to playing at 1 o'clock, 4:25, 4:05. I just don't think people play their best physically, emotionally. We're a creature of habit at 8:30 at night. I know it used to be back in the day 9 o'clock Monday Night Football, and I think in November and December, Bruce, it's tougher when the weather's cold, especially on a school or work night. Is that any factor of the attendance?
I think it is, and every coach in the NFL despises Thursday night games. They despise them. It just ruins everything, and you're right about the human body. The other factor, too, the Ravens have 19 guys on injured reserve out for the year, and those numbers aren't unusual anymore. The last basic agreement with the players' union, they don't hit in practice anymore. There's no hitting in the NFL. So when it happens to you in a game and your body's not used to it, the injuries tend to be more severe, and I think you're seeing that league-wide.
Yeah, when you saw Ray Lewis in his primetime days and Ed Reed and Stover, Bulware, all the great players, Jonathan Ogden, they never said we want prime time. They didn't like playing on prime time back then, but that wasn't the reason. They just wanted to be a blue-collar team, go about their business under Billick and get jobs and wins. That's it.
Yeah, that's what it was about. But the NFL is all about profits. They worship that almighty dollar, and the primetime games bring you more money than the 1 o'clock games. It's sad that anything in sports today, professional sports, you can trace it back to dollars and cents. That's the goal. That's why they play.
You and I have talked.
I'm not so sure that's not a skewed way to look at it.
Absolutely. They want more and more TV, and that's the bottom line. You can talk about the internet all you want, folks. Nobody's going to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch it on their phone. They're going there to watch it on big screen TVs, just like the old ESPN zones were around for a long time. People still like to watch games on television. That's why TV and radio will always be relevant. relevant. Anybody can have a podcast, anybody can have a show, but you need a platform like TV and radio, Bruce, you know this firsthand, to promote your internet stuff.
For now.
Yeah, exactly.
This whole thing is changing, and it's changing rapidly, and it's changing for good. So anymore, I mean, I got 40 years in. So anymore, I'm just kind of strapped in and riding wherever it takes me. I'm not going to predict anything.
You're exactly right. Let me ask you this, too. When you talk about all the different things as far as the DMV is concerned, we know the Redskins and Ravens have separate fans, but here's where they are identical. Both the Redskins and Ravens fans like the Caps. Both the Redskins and Ravens fans like University of Maryland. How relevant is University of Maryland right now? It seems like they're right now borderline irrelevant. I hate to say it.
Well, not here. I mean, they're still followed pretty well. The football season fell apart, but I mean, they open up with a win at Texas, and then they lose their starting quarterback.
Sure.
And then the next week they lose their number 2 quarterback. So, it's kind of tough because, the Big Ten ain't no joke. You know what I mean? We've learned that the last couple of years. But it's relevant. There's a lot of alumni, and it is the largest state university. And, we certainly cover them, that's for sure.
No, of course, Maryland's
but
always...
You're right about the shared nature. And the interesting thing about the Caps, there's hardcore hockey fans in Baltimore, and there's no team here anymore, not even a minor league team. And so they go to Washington to get their fix. And one of the great things about the arena in Washington is that the metro goes right up underneath it, so it's easy to get there from Baltimore. But the interesting thing about that is the Wizards have virtually no following at all in Baltimore, which is a basketball town. So I find that interesting. It's one of the many things about this town that's hard to explain.
Right, and of course the Bullets franchise played in Baltimore for a while as well.
Yeah, they did, but people just, they don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Do people care about the military bullet?
Well, that Virginia was probably the best matchup they could make, especially with Navy playing on the home field. There's all kinds of ties there.
Sure.
I remember going there in the 70s to cover Navy when George Welsh was coaching there.
Sure.
So you can't lose with that matchup, right?
Yeah, and of course they played at RFK for a long time. That stadium is a dump now. But of course, you look at some people are going to say, the Virginia people are going to say, well, it's still a home game for Navy, and you really can't dispute that.
No. But then again, Greg, if you have the kind of season that gets you in the military bowl, you can't really complain too much about what bowl game you get. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're playing at that level, you don't really get to complain. You ought to be glad somebody wants you in a bowl game.
Right.
Obviously you want me to be 100% honest.
Absolutely. At least you got an extra game to play, and that's pretty much what it is. It's an exhibition. It's great for sponsorship. It's great for the alumni. You get a head start for 2018 is what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a great little stadium, too. I don't know if you've ever been in Annapolis there.
Several times.
About 45,000. And the interesting thing about it is their Ring of Honor. And rather than having names, they have battles. They have Guadalcanal, Okinawa. That's what they have in that stadium. And there's a great story. When Lou Holtz was coaching at William and Mary, he had his team up there to play Navy, and they're warming up down on the field. And he comes up behind 2 of his players, and one says to the other, "We're going to get killed. They're going to beat our brains out. Why do we even schedule these guys?" Holtz grabbed him and spun him around and said, "Why would you say that?" And the kid pointed up at the Ring of Honor and said, "Look who they play."
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. A lot of history. I've worked lacrosse, football, and basketball. It's a great place there at the Naval Academy.
You figure Staubach played on that field,
sure.
So that's not too bad, right?
Oh, absolutely. So when you look at the postseason as well, coming up with 2 more weeks left in the regular season, it's still, you look at some of the teams like the Titans, and there's still room for San Diego to get in there.
Definitely, and the AFC so bad this year. You look over at the NFC, and that's where all the good teams are. The AFC is basically the Steelers and the Patriots, and then whoever else shows up. I'm still not completely sold on the Chiefs either. So the funny thing about the NFL, and this is my 23rd season, I think, covering it, is the way it changes year to year. The schedule comes out in July, and people look at it and say, "Well, they're going to go 12-4," and I'm like, "How can you know that? Who predicted the Vikings? Who predicted Jacksonville?" It's just that's an interesting thing about the NFL is how it runs in cycles and how quickly the cycles operate. It's year to year. It's fascinating to cover that league from that standpoint.
Right. You mentioned injuries for Maryland's quarterbacks, just like that happens in the NFL. Rodgers goes down. They don't go to the postseason for the first time in several years.
Yeah. The thing is, in a modern game, when you have a big-time quarterback and you've paid him big-time money, that takes so much of your salary cap that there's not a whole lot left. And when that quarterback goes down, you're not left with much. Well, there's a reason for that. And like the Ravens went through it when they signed Flacco. The Steelers went through it when they signed when they signed Roethlisberger. The Seahawks definitely went through it, when they signed Russell Wilson. So it's a fact of life in the NFL. It's a double-edged sword. Everybody wants a quarterback, but when you find one, those boys are expensive, and they don't leave a lot of crumbs for everybody else.
Right. I worked the Redskins-Cardinals game this past weekend, and the Redskins still talking about what are they going to do with Cousins. I don't think he's worth that type of money. I think he's a solid quarterback. He's not at the same level with Rodgers.
I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree, but quarterbacks are expensive.
I know.
That's what they cost. I don't think I should have to spend $80,000 for a Mercedes either, but that's what they cost, isn't it?
Right. Unless you got Ray Lewis's pocketbook there, of course. Absolutely.
Well, Ray played a long time. They put him in the Ring of Honor, and the interesting thing about that at our stadium is that it shows 3 different decades. Mm-hmm. How many guys are in that Ring of Honor in 3 different decades? Answer 1.
Right.
It's kind of interesting if you look at it that way.
One I was surprised still, he played for the Redskins and, the Browns both, of course, was Biner. Some people said they questioned whether he is worthy. The Colts names, I'm glad they're up there for the lineage, but some of the names, Biner is still front and center, kind of wondering why he's up there.
Well, Biner, that's a special case because Art Modell loved him.
Sure.
And when they decided to do the Ring of Honor, Art still owned the team, and he said it's Biner goes up there, and so nobody was in a position to dispute it. So I guess he's up there forever. But the rest of the names are pretty good, And taking nothing away from EB, he's a friend of mine. I love the guy, but I think even he's kind of amazed that he's up there.
Yeah, give us an update in 30 seconds in your TV radio tone here. Billick, he didn't work out for Fox. He's not front and center for the NFL Network. What is he doing? I know he's still on there a little bit, but he's not front and center or relevant like he was.
Well, yeah, the thing with Fox, though, you see, he was still under contract for the Ravens. And the way that agreement read was that if he did any kind of work, he wasn't getting paid. So when he was working for Fox, he was working for free. Mm-hmm. All right, so as soon as that contract thing ran out, Fox didn't want to pay him. And NFL Network doesn't use him all that much. I don't know whether that's by his choice or not. He lives over on the Eastern Shore. He's got a big old boat that he loves. He's out on the bay every day. And from what I see, he's starting to get into the buying and selling of boats. So I'm thinking he might be more interested in that. He wanted to coach again, but for whatever reason, it just never happened for him. And so I think he's kind of accepted that. Brian's in his 60s now. And I think he's just enjoying life over in St. Michael's.
Leave us your Twitter handle.
Envy him.
Leave us your Twitter handle, Bruce.
It's at Bruce45Sports.
Very good. My friend, happy holidays to you. We'll see you after the new year, and we hope to have you back on here very soon in the first quarter.
Anytime I can help you, let me know.
Thank you, my friend. Bruce Cunningham right there. All right. WBFF-TV in Baltimore, public address announcer for the Ravens. We get the elite guests right here on Sports Scene. The news will come up as well as more specials. Stay tuned.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com.
And want to thank our first guest, Bruce Cunningham, right there from the Fox affiliate in Baltimore. Panera, all items 100% clean. They deliver, offer catering. Take advantage of the rapid pickup option. Excellent hot soups to warm you up. Sandwiches, salads, bagels, bread, smoothies. Excellent breakfast sandwiches. Holidays, of course, they do great jobs with sandwiches and catering, like cookies, desserts, refreshing beverages. Go by and see Brian and the staff. For more, log on to PaneraBread.com. Food as it should be, right there in Suffolk at 6255 College Drive in the Harborview section. Give them a call at 483-3670. Sunday, the Falcons battle the Saints in an NFC showdown, South showdown. Then it's America's Game of the Week as Ezekiel Elliott makes his return for the Cowboys' huge game against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. The doubleheader begins at 1 Eastern on Fox. Great new place. Go by and see James and the staff, of course, at Charcoal Chicken Pollo a la Brasa, Hampton Road's first authentic rotisserie cooked Peruvian-style chicken. Of course, they have excellent yuca fries, where science has left no chance at all. Delicious chicken, sides, vegetable medley, salads, black beans, of course, kids menu, desserts, drinks, open Tuesday through Sunday, right there at the Lomans Plaza in Virginia Beach. 4000 Virginia Beach Boulevard. Give them a call at 486-5000. Like them on Facebook. No antibiotics, no added hormones, no preservatives ever. It's called Charcoal Chicken Pollo a la Brasa, right there at 486-5000. Of course, this is Highlights right here, presented by Buffalo Wild Wings as well. Save the date each Wednesday for Sports Scene. Next week we'll have a taped archive show for the holidays. Joe Daniels already got it loaded from 12 to 1. We'll be back live Wednesday, January 3rd from noon to 1 with a big announcement as well. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, visit, bookmark it. GJBTV.com as well as HRSMHOF.com. Final 2 weeks of the NFL season, scandals at the NFL Network, and the Carolina Panthers owners having his issue. 2017 has, of course, just 11 days left. Joe Daniel, question, do you enjoy holiday shopping at all?
Who are we shopping for? Are we shopping for ourselves, or are we shopping, I don't know, for the in-laws? I'm just kidding, but I enjoy shopping. I like giving people gifts. I'm not very good at receiving gifts, but I do enjoy giving other people gifts just throughout the year, not just for the holiday. In my household, I don't really do the holiday shopping too much. It's my wife who's the one who's constantly on Amazon or Overstock.com or something like that, purchasing the gifts, and then she'll run it by me. But yeah, I enjoy giving gifts and purchasing gifts throughout the year.
Very, very nice, of course, all presented by Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. Go by and see the great staff over there for lunch, dinner, appetizers, mozzarella sticks, salads, boneless traditional wings, and great burgers and wraps, as well as tenders, Max, beverages, desserts, a kids menu, games on TV, wings, beer, sports. Go by and see Paul and the great staff at Patrick Henry Mall's location in Newport News, right outside of Patrick Henry Mall, 12150 Jefferson Avenue. Phone number is 249-3999. Watch all the big bowl games coming up, like, of course, Alabama and Clemson, Georgia and Oklahoma, all the college basketball, NFL all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, right here as well. Of course, Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News, wings, beer, sports. Stay tuned after the Wizards Report.
Tuesday at Capital One Arena, it was another great night for Mike Scott. Hands off to Bradley Beal. Beal top of the arc of a Mahimi screen. Back out front, Mike Scott for three. It's there! Oh, it's there. Of course it's there. 5 of 5 for Scott. He's got 12 points, 52-33. And the Wizards, in the end, were able to prevail after being challenged by the Pelicans. Down low, Davis, double team right of the lane. Davis feeds Nilsson left elbow. He gets a restricted arc. Stripped to the ball. Stripped to the ball by Bradley Beal. Beal racing up court. Left corner, Kelly Oubre. Back to Beal on the left wing. Down low baseline, Scott. Cutting Mahimi, going for the slam. Knock loose. Mahimi gets it back. Shovels to Scott. Out front, Bradley Beal. Top of the arc for three. It's there! Oh, it's there! It is there! Back-to-back threes for Bradley Beal. Now the Wizards are up 91-68 with 18 seconds left in the third quarter. Wizards win it over the Pelicans 116-106. Up next in Brooklyn on Friday to take on the Nets on the WGL Washington Wizards Radio Network.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg.
Frosty the Snowman was a jolly, happy soul with a corncob pipe and a button nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. Frosty the Snowman.
CP Shuckers, locals tradition, Shore Drive, Pacific Avenue, delicious food, great apps, steak bites, sandwiches, burgers, specials, all the games on TV. Matt, Mark, Chef Leon are waiting for you. Great place for the holidays to watch football as well as get a great meal. For more, go to cpshuckers.com with 2 great Virginia Beach locations. Still going on in Newport News, Celebration and Lights, great quality of life event. To tell us more about it, we've had her on several times as well as sports highlights. Renee Popernack, how are you?
Oh, doing great.
Final few weeks left of it, still building a lot of momentum for the Celebration Lights. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, Celebration Lights, the 2-mile drive through holiday lights at Newport News Park. We're open every night from 5:30 until 10 o'clock at night. It's $12 a car, $60 per bus. It's a great family event, and people always ask us now, are you opening on the holiday nights like Christmas and New Year's? And absolutely we are.
Yeah, that gives people a chance to get out of the house instead of sitting on the couch all day. I think it's a great idea, and a lot of the cities around Hampton Roads have had issues with it. Some have even thought about closing them, but Newport News is proud to have had it for 25 years.
Yes, we were the first city in the state of Virginia to do a drive-through light event, and we have continued to add more displays every year. We're up to over 1 million lights. We have new light displays this year, so even if you've seen it before, if you haven't seen it this year, you haven't seen it.
Right, of course, it's a quality of life thing to do. And the thing, too, Renee, is people come from all over the state and even other states to come to this nice event.
Yeah, it is. I mean, out-of-town visitors looking for something to do. It's a great add-on to the other great holiday events going on in Hampton Roads. It is a family tradition. You know, people at this point who have come as kids are now bringing their kids to the event.
Right. Were you pleased overall with Holly Dazzle, or are you going to try to tweak it next year?
Holly Dazzle was great. Every year we get together with everybody involved because it really is a citywide effort. Look to see what we could do to make it better and run smoother. We had one meeting already, and honestly, we'll be meeting throughout the year leading up to next year and just coming up with new ideas and new ways of handling the 35,000 people who ended up coming to Holly Dazzle this year. It's a lot of fun, and we know it's a really important event for the community.
What else is going on as far as the first quarter of 2018?
Well, you know, we're looking up to the One City Marathon, and if people are runners or even if you're a walker, we have a fun run. You know, we have multiple races. You can do the marathon. You can do the marathon as a relay, and we're heavily into planning for that event right now.
When is the date for that?
Yeah, we have moved it up a week for this coming year. We're actually putting another week in between us and Shamrock because we knew it was a problem for runners. So we'll be going like in the first week of March this year.
Very nice, very nice. Always a fun event. Like you said, you don't have to run. You can walk as well. And that event is sustained, and really that's an entire city-wide and regional event.
Oh, yes. A lot of out-of-state runners, you know, a lot of people try to do that, run a marathon in every state or once every weekend. So a lot of people really travel around the country looking for marathons to go to. And so, yeah, we have a lot of out-of-town, but it's great because we have a lot of kids in our after-school program in Newport News, and they all participate in the fun run. So it's really something, even if you're not an elite runner, you could be a part of.
Absolutely. All right, give us, once again, any social media people can connect with to find out more about the Celebration of Lights or anything else.
Yeah, we're at Newport News Special Events, and you can find out everything about Celebration Lights and all our upcoming events coming for 2018 also. As we get information, will be posted there. Our website is nnparks.com, and if you have any questions, they can always call us at 757-926-1400.
Renee, thank you so much, and happy holidays to you and your family both.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Renee Popernack right there from the city of Newport News. And Joe Daniel, like she said, whether it's a marathon or a family event, there's something going on this time of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, wintertime is the best time to get together with family or friends, and doing the Celebration of Lights, or like what she was saying, any of these other community activities is a great way to be a part of the community and to make memories with members of your family.
Constructive stuff, too, because so much time you turn on the news and there's shootings and killings and negative stuff.
Absolutely. It's a good way to see the positive in humanity.
Absolutely. Craft Burger Bar, go by and see Jamie and the friendly staff. Folks, you got to try it. 1706 Mediterranean Avenue in Virginia Beach near the oceanfront. Great craft chili, fried house pickles, the Wagyu burgers, Coronado, Greek, pepper, shroom, and sunrise. Excellent staff led by Ryan and company. Excellent toppings, great hot dogs as well. Chicken sandwiches, salads, vegan burgers, house-cut fries, beer, battered onion rings. Also want to thank the good people that provided the staff there as well, and the T-shirt to Joe Daniel as well from Hampton Roads Sports Media Hall of Fame. That's hrsmhof.com. Again, go by and see Jamie at Craft Burger Bar, 1706 Mediterranean Avenue in Virginia Beach. And, of course, my thoughts on coaches on the hot seat in the NFL. The Colts coach has got to go. The Bengals coach pretty much will go. The Bears coach has got to go, Fox. The Giants definitely will be getting a new coach, too. You'll be seeing a lot of coaching changes, always intriguing, after Week 17, December 31st. Well, all games will be on CBS, Fox. NBC will get one game as well. They'll be playing football on Christmas Eve, December 23rd as well, and on Christmas night, too, on ESPN and NBC. Stay tuned.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names.
Always great to hear holiday music. This is Sports Scene, live on 1650 AM, 92.5 FM. TuneIn.com, type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Hope you enjoyed our first two guests, Bruce Cunningham and Renee Popernack. Little Tokyo Buffet, hibachi, noodle bar, as well as sushi bar and buffet bar. Great Chinese American food at 49 West Mercury Boulevard in Hampton, open 7 days a week. Give them a call at 325-8286. Well, holiday season is right here, of course, and of course front and center. Smithfield VA events. Regular is Gina Ippolito. Gina, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, Greg. How are you today?
Always good to hear your voice. Absolutely. Let's talk about what's going on next month.
Well, we've got shortly after the holidays, January 13th is our 5th annual Smithfield Bob Fest, and that's kind of a weird name for a festival, but Bob stands for Bloody Marys, oysters, barbecue, Brunswick stew. We have an 8K race ahead of the morning of the event. The event starts at noon and goes until 4. It's all under 55,000 square feet of heated tent space. The DeLoreans are the band. It's an all-you-can-eat event. So if you're an oyster lover, you need to come and gobble up as many oysters and barbecue as you can. We also serve Bloody Marys, beer, and wine, and it's a great afternoon.
Yeah, give us the date, website, and the location.
The date is January 13th, 2018, and the location is at Windsor Castle Park in downtown Smithfield. And the website to find out information is www.smithfieldvaevents.com, and then click on the Bobfest logo. We do 3 annual events, and so our other 2 events are also listed on there. But front and center, because it's our next event, is the Bobfest. And then you can find out all the information. There are not very many tickets left. General admission tickets are all sold out, but there are a handful of ways you can still come.
Well, let's talk.
You can sign. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about
can sign up for the 8K race and add a couple tickets. And there are some hotel packages still left, and that there's a tab on the website for hotels. And there are about a dozen $100 VIP early entry tickets that are left on the website, and you can purchase those through that website. So. That's about all we have left, and it's a lot of fun, and it's, after everybody gears down after the holidays, everybody's looking for something to do the middle of January.
No, I agree, but let's talk about whether it's indoors or outdoors. I know your Bacon Fest is outdoors.
It is an outdoor event. I mean, it's underneath tents, so it's indoors, but it's not in a building.
Sure.
We use the party tent itself, where the DeLoreans are playing, is 100-foot wide. By this year, we expanded it 30 more feet, so it's 330 feet long, and that's the party tent, and it is heated with heaters, and then there's tunnel tents that connect it to what we call the food and drink tent, which is where the beer and the oysters and the barbecue and the Bloody Mary booth, and we sell T-shirts and stuff in there, so you can connect from the party tent through the tunnels into the other tent. So it's also heated, and there is an outdoor oyster area. We've been fortunate enough that all 4 years we've had this event, it was not miserable weather. I mean, it may be a little chilly, but 50, 55 degrees. So we're hoping that we have as good a weather on the 5th year as we had the other 4. So there is an outdoor oyster area you can also eat your oysters at. But anyway, it's a great time, and it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun for adults. Let's specify that too, correct?
Yeah, all 3 of our events are 21 and up only. So we don't take anything under 21. No babies, no infants, no pets. Unless you bought a table for this event, it is kind of a standing event. We do have standing tables that are open that you can eat your oysters or barbecue at. But because it is all underneath heated tent space, it's not like our other 2 events that are out in the open fields, at Windsor Castle Park up by the historic Manor House. So it's a little bit different, but it's a lot of fun.
Give us any social media as well.
We have, each event has a Facebook page. So this one's Facebook page is Smithfield VA Bob Fest, an 8K Chili Bob Road Race is what we call the 8K race. We currently have almost 200 runners registered for that, and that picks up a little bit right after the first of the year. But anyway, it's that's our Facebook page for the event. So
very good. So January 13th, we look forward to seeing everybody out there. And give us your website one more time.
It is www.smithfieldvaevents.com, and then click on the Bobfest logo.
Well, keep up the great work, Gina, and we look forward to seeing you in January.
Sounds great. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you.
You too, and the great listeners as well, and to your wonderful staff in Smithfield. They really get it done, as well as your nice volunteers.
Yes, thank you very much, and I will pass that along, and have a great New Year.
You too. My pleasure.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Gina. Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Gina Ippolito, right there. Also, our good friend, he goes to my church, good buddy. Jimmy has his brand new grand opening today, Jimmy the Greek's Deli. Of course, you know how important the Newport News Greek Festival is to this radio station. He's got great specialty sandwiches, Greek specialty sandwiches, subs, burgers, gyros, appetizers, wings, sides, salads, as well as excellent kids menu, beverages too. 10% off for everybody today from Jimmy the Greeks right there in Yorktown, 1215 George Washington Memorial Highway. Him and his mother and great staff will take care of you. Excellent, excellent food from Jimmy the Greeks. He gets it done. Fresh, clean atmosphere. 10% off right there in Yorktown, 117. As well at 1215 GW Highway at the Killen Creek Shopping Center. Give them a call at 595-1787. Like Jimmy the Greeks on Facebook, and it's jimmydugreeks.com. That's DA as well. Let's get to what teased me off.
What teased you off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
And a little bit on a serious note, Joe Daniel, you and I have talked about pets. You know, I like rabbits. I like pets, of course, and respect. This is horrible that this Goochland County, young lady, 22-year-old Bethany Lynn Stevens, was mauled by her own pet dogs who were euthanized shortly after the attack. That just shows you, whatever it is, a dog, if it's not trained properly, can still snap even if it's trained properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
This girl was mauled by her own pet dogs.
It's very scary, yeah. And I'm very hesitant I know little dogs can do it too, but I'm just very hesitant and scared for my children when they want to run up to a larger dog, just because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, they can say it's very nice, and I believe them. I believe the owners believe their dogs are very nice, and the dogs are probably very sweet, obey the commands that they're given, but you never know, like you said, when one of them just spooks out the dog at a wrong time, wrong place, and something bad happens.
Yeah, leave your kids some breathing room there as well. All right, what else teased me off? Having to be anywhere by 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, there's a 4 o'clock in the morning now? That's weird. But yeah, early, I'm not a morning person at all, but yeah, that's still like night. It's in my, people 3 in the morning, they woke up at 3 in the morning. No, that's in the middle of the night. That's not morning.
Absolutely. Trying to park in a parking garage in Washington, D.C. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, anytime, anywhere. Why have these big cities where there's no parking?
You got to build up. They're building up, yeah. There's no longer parking lot. It's now parking structures because there's no room to just have a big spread out area. It's all vertical, and then there's horrible traffic and people walking through, and then ramps, and you get kind of almost lost and confused inside of them sometimes when they're not labeled correctly.
Other than working sporting events there and seeing some family in Maryland, you couldn't pay me to live in the DMV.
Live in the DMV?
DMV is called D.C., Maryland, Virginia. They call it the DMV. Yes, of course.
Not from here.
All right, trying to have conversations when both parties are in a hallway shouting at each other not that close. Hey, Joe Daniel, how are you, buddy? and then trying to have a conversation in between people walking around you.
Or people who stop in doorways. That happened to me. I was at a concert event, and a group of people just stopped right there in the doorway. You walk out, you get into a hallway, and to get into the main foyer, they just stopped right there. And they're just people are trying to squeeze their way around them and in between them, and get out of the way, move to the side, be courteous to other people that are around you.
Speaking of which, I also don't like laser pointers. What's the point of them? Do not point them in people's eyes.
Yeah,
they're not good.
No, it's a very concentrated light beam, and so definitely not. You've heard of these kids though that shine them up into airplanes, and so it gets into the pilot's eyes. I've heard that, and so I've heard the rumors of bad stuff like that happening, but yeah, definitely don't shine them into people's faces.
Major distraction. We talk about parking all the time at big box stores, but parking so far away from your destination that you need an Uber to get to your destination.
yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah.
All right, having no idea what to expect from a hotel you're trying to check into. Let's say you and the family are going to a hotel. You have no idea what the room's going to be like, the bathrooms. There's always that element of unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the most part, we always just try to get a room, and the way we approach it is we just need a place to put our heads down. That's it. I mean, we're not spending the time in the hotel room unless we're like in Vegas or something like that. Then they have really nice hotel rooms, but if it's just a place to put our heads down, then it's not a big deal for us.
Very good, Joe Daniel. I want to thank our good friends at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Go by and see Mike and the staff at 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Give them a call at 523-4832. Take that special loved one to a holiday gathering at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. Great, spacious, nice dining area, bar, lunch, and dinner daily. Delicious burgers, steaks, ribs, chicken, soup, salads, appetizers, seafood, pasta, chops, as well as desserts, beverages, dine-in or carry-out at Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville in Virginia Beach. For more, go to Outback.com. Enjoy a delicious lunch or dinner 7 days a week. Watch the games on TV as well. Joe Daniel, what are you thankful for as well? Always to have a great producer like you. Tape show next Wednesday from 12 to 1. Thank all of our guests today again, Bruce Cunningham, as well as Renee Popernack, Gina Ippolito. For more, go to Greg Bick on Twitter. That's GREGBIC. Interact 24/7. Of course, my predictions for college football once again, I predict that Alabama will beat Clemson and Georgia will beat Oklahoma. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll talk to you soon.
AM 1650 WHKT Portsmouth, 92.5 FM W223CT Norfolk. For your daily supply of news and talk, we are The Answer.